I can see the words inside your silence.
On this episode of the History of the Chorus podcast with Curtis and Josh, we take a look at the band known as Touché Amoré. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings. And make sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star review, and write us a comment on YouTube or whatever podcast service you're using. Make sure to check us out on TikTok and give us a follow at IsSurvivedByProductions. And if you'd like to see live streams from us, make sure to hit us up in the comment section or tweet at us stream. 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 Now, without further ado, let's start the show.
The devil is in Atlanta. Army surrounded.
Welcome back to the History of the Chorus podcast, where each and every episode we take a look at the history of a band from the core genre. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Josh.
Josh, I'm going to start out this episode just a little bit different than we normally do. I want to ask you a question. This is a serious question. It's not just some goofball thing. What is your opinion on bands re-recording albums from their early discography? Do you know what I mean?
I like it.
Okay. Do you have a band in mind that has done that?
The first one I can think of is Converge. They did I don't think it was Jane Doe. I think it was Jane Doe. Let me see real quick.
I ask because just this past week, Thrice actually just put out a re-recording for their 20th anniversary of The Artist in the Ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It was good. It just sounds really different, more because of his vocals are way different than what they were back in 2003, obviously, but honestly, he sounds like he's drank a lot of liquor and smoked a lot of cigarettes, even though I think he's only done maybe the liquor part. But he sounds really raspy and pretty gritty now. But it was still a good recording.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't Jane Doe, it was You Fail Me, which
so still Converge.
Yeah, I have I go back and forth between this one and Jane Doe being my favorite albums, but
what year was it first released?
You Fail Me?
Yeah.
Maybe like 2003.
So would it be like a 10-year or 20?
The re-recording was in 2016.
Oh, okay. So 13-year.
Yeah, let me see.
Odd anniversary.
When the first one came out. So yeah, You Fail Me originally released in 2004. I was a year early. So
okay. So it'd be 12-year anniversary when they released it, re-released it. Okay.
And
yeah,
I was Converge is kind of different. It sounds the same. Like the album just sounds like exactly.
It's just the production was different, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like slightly better, but you know how they do it? They play on shit guitars and they do hardly any editing, so it's like
true.
Yeah.
Is there a band that has done it that you like that you thought wasn't as good as it was before?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Not that many bands do that.
It seems to be more of a trend now.
Or they'll do like a 10-year on it, but they do an acoustic version of the album. Like Yellow Card did that with Ocean Avenue.
Okay. Yeah, I was just when this came out, it came out I think Wednesday, Artist in the Ambulance, and I was listening to it, and it just kind of got me thinking about like, man, I wonder because I know some bands are doing like Silverstein did it with When Broken is Easily Fixed, and I did not like that one at all. Of course, that's one of those albums that was like really precious to me, near
Mm-hmm.
and dear to my heart. And so it was kind of one of those, it's like, no, just leave it be, man, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Um, there's one that August Burns Red did one for, oh, they did Leveler, and I didn't like it. His vocals had changed too much by the time they re-recorded it, and I didn't like the newer version.
I think it
Um,
would piss me off if a band had like changed their line a whole bunch in
mhm.
between that.
Like
And
their
then
lineup.
now, yeah, and then now you've got guys coming in playing songs. Like that's my beef with Maylene right now. Is like I don't want to see those assholes and Dallas Taylor play my favorite Maylene songs, you know?
They're gonna re-record Mailing One. Ugh.
Ugh.
Don't touch that. Do not touch
I will
that.
never open. Yeah, I would never listen to that.
Would you buy it just to burn it?
No, that's dumb. Nobody should ever
um,
burn the things that they buy that they fall out with.
right. Shoot, there was something else I was gonna ask you. Yeah, I just kind of wonder if there's like I start thinking about like albums from bands that I like that were early in their discography that really had like an impression on me, and I'd be like, I don't know if I would want them to re-record that, even if it was still the same lineup.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some of it is like nostalgia,
Hmm.
and just like I'd rather just like stick with that and not, you know. I mean, if you're gonna like, you're already playing it live now in 2023, so it's like, why do I need a recording of that? I'll just go see you live, or I'll just go onto YouTube and hear what it sounds like now.
Okay, a case where I will say that like I think the newer one hits a little better for me, it would be like A Day to Remember because they re-record
With the very first one or the
yeah,
second one.
well, and their name okay, so no, I think they just re-released For Those Who Have
They
Heart.
I thought they
But
re no. They re-recorded For Those Who Have Heart, and they re-released Old Record.
well, an old record was just or and their name was Treason, right?
I think so, yeah.
So
I think
old
you're right.
record is like a revamped version. Yeah, the only I mean, and old record's pretty good, but it's just I guess a case where it works for me is when it was maybe recorded poorly and doesn't sound as filled out, and then you get a
Right.
version of that song that's just like way more filled out. I feel like it gives it a lot more life.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It can go either way. It's different with every band for me.
I'm gonna go back a little bit on something you said about the lineup deal. How about Norma Jean's lineup now does like Redeemer or Oh God, the Aftermath to be no, just don't. Just keep moving forward, man. Just keep moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Anyway, like I said, I'd like to pick your
Yeah.
brain on that. So, because I've been thinking about it all week. But so thanks for
Yeah.
indulging me.
I don't know. Norma Jean could be kind of an exception there because he writes so much of like what you know about Norma Jean, the vocals, the guitar, like the
Right. Yeah.
bass. Like, I mean, that could be, it could sound completely the same, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
like even like, but like listening to them played live now, like some of those songs from like Oh God and like Redeemer, it sounds kind of slower live. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just because like they're older and they just can't play as fast. Which, to be honest, that's what happened on this album with Thrice. Is you can tell like they have to play it just a little skosh slower in some parts because like we can't hit because like that album, like dude, there was a lot of like metal riffs on that album, and that's
Yeah.
just like that's not who they are now. They've really chilled out a lot, and then again, they're older. They're 20 years older than what they were then. So
Are you kids ready to party?
hold on one second, I gotta take a hit of oxygen.
Let me see
Okay, here
a
we go.
fucking pit down there.
Yeah, so thanks for indulging me on that. How about we jump into the band that we're gonna talk about in the next two episodes, Josh?
He is Legend Part 3.
The
Our
the black
listener.
market, what did I say earlier? The what's it called? On the internet.
Oh,
Dark web. Dark
yeah, the
web,
He
the
is
dark
Legend
web
Dark Web
chronicles.
albums. Yeah.
No, sir. Today we are looking at the band known as Touche Amore. Josh, what is your history with the band Touche Amore?
Do you want me
Nothing.
to what do you want me to say here?
No, I just like what do you know about them? Like, is this your first time like really listening to them?
I only
Have you just
knew
heard them
a
in passing,
few
really?
yeah, I only knew a few of their songs.
Okay.
And
And
this
that's what I
was
thought, but I wasn't for sure.
yeah, and this was always just kind of like out of my realm a little bit. Musically, it's there for me. I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think you know, like the spoken word lyrics, like in this kind of music.
Right.
And I go back and forth because, like we were talking about, I like some listener stuff, but then there's some other stuff that I don't like,
Oh, yeah,
and
no.
it's
I would tell you right now
obviously
with the listener, the only thing that I really like is their last album, where it was actually like a rock album. And it
yeah,
wasn't just like their old school spoken word with like an accordion and maybe an acoustic guitar. And it was, ugh, I didn't like that. It was too much for me. Their last album, dude, is like the greatest thing ever.
a little too pretentious.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a little cringy to me,
Yeah,
but
and it's obviously a fine line between spoken word music like this and what could be argued as spoken screaming or whatever, when you listen to like the Chariot or
yelling.
something like that. Yeah. So it's obviously a fine line on that between the two.
Right.
But I found a lot of similarities with different albums too. This made me think of this band or this
Like
reminded
what
me
bands?
of um so one of the splits musically really made me think of this is gonna be a weird one. But
Okay.
well, not really that weird when you think about it. Um Made me think of the first Gym Class Heroes album. And that's not an album that you like, it's not on like Spotify or Apple Music, anything like that. Like there's just like physical copies out there, and you can find the full album on YouTube. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
Totally different than the rest of their stuff, but I like to classify that kind of stuff as like skate rap, is kind of what I consider it.
Okay.
Um, but it's all with real instruments. I mean, Gym Class Heroes has been like a full band with that just like,
Right.
Travis McCoy just raps instead of spoken word or something.
Right.
But yeah, I think if you listen to that album, you hear a lot of that kind of stuff. It's like this, like some stuff is kind of rock-esque, but other stuff is just kind of like groovy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of jamming a little bit.
Okay. Fun fact for you. Have you listened to Listener's latest album, Being Empty, Being Filled? It was
No.
in 2018. That's the album I was talking about that I really like from them. But fun fact for you, Josh Scoggin was actually the producer on that.
Okay.
Blew my mind when I figured that out. I was like, what?
Is he on the album at all?
No, he's not. No, he's just the producer.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think he
He's
would
already
come some
there.
guest. Yeah. I mean, he's like, why
Like,
not?
yeah, just throw down a
I
line for me,
mean,
Josh, real
we're
quick.
here now. Why not just a little something? Just a little scream? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Record him when he's not expecting it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, the genres that Touche Amore is posted under is post-hardcore, screamo, melodic hardcore, and emo. Does that sound about that about right,
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, that works for
Okay.
me.
Okay. Well, let's get right into it, Josh. Formed in 2007 in Los Angeles, California. NPR.org in 2011 described Touché Amoré as this. Touché Amoré is all about impact. The songs are short, the words are direct, and the band is forever on tour. I like that. That's pretty funny. I'm not the only one who's pointed out that the hardcore band's live performances are wildly energetic, but oh, they are unforgettable. Bodies pile on top of bodies to share the mic with vocalist Jeremy Baum, a skinny and effusively gracious frontman who will get right in your face as he screams road-worn confessionals. Have you looked up in preparation for this? Have you looked up any live show stuff? Can't hear you, but no.
No.
For the people who have no video, would you please state your answer in a audio form?
No, not for them. I haven't
Yeah,
seen any of their live stuff.
you should go look it up. It's pretty good. It's not as good as like the Chariot, but I get Chariot vibes every once in a while
Yeah.
watching some of that. Excuse me.
I could see how this band attracts a cult following, kind of like that, you know?
Right.
Um, for me, it's a little depressing.
Yeah, there's some depressing
And it goes kind of in and
stuff
out.
to it, man.
Like
Well, and especially, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, the last two albums, if not the last three full albums, are more or less surrounding like the death of his mom from like cancer. And
ugh.
he's come out, and the sad thing is, dude, he's come out just like in the last couple of years and said, or no. Yeah, in the last couple of years, he's come out and said that he could write like 3 or 4 more albums on the same subject, but he just feels like he just can't do that anymore. Which I don't. I mean, I'm with him. It's like
Don't do that
you
to the
gotta move on.
fans.
You gotta move on, dude. You gotta move on
Yeah.
with it, And he agrees with that. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some depressing
I mean, I
elements
get
to
it. Whenever you find that connection, you know, and you feel like the same thing, and especially live, you know, like that's an amazing thing. Like I do totally get that.
I would say one of the things that kind of some of their early stuff kind of has this kind of like teenage angst to it, and I'm kind of like, would you? I mean,
Well,
do you see
the
that
the
too in the
the
lyrics?
first album I was gonna say makes me think of Kids Like Us.
Okay,
Like it's very blunt. Like I'm gonna say what I have to say. I'm not gonna like
beat around the bush.
lyrically jazz this up, you know, like it's very punk. Like just that I'm trying to get a message across, and I'm not gonna create like a catchy chorus for you guys to, you know, like yeah, it's not trying to get played on the radio, you know.
Right, right. Well, here is your official lineup to start off the band. Jeremy Baum on vocals, Clayton Stevens on guitar, Tyson White on guitar, Nick Steinhardt on bass, Jeremy Subsnick on drums. There is a little bit of changes that will happen here at the beginning, but once we get past the first couple albums, the lineup will stay set in stone for the rest of these 2 episodes. So don't worry about the lineup changes. It's not going to get too confusing. I promise.
Okay.
And I know you like that. So
Yeah.
let's
I
go
like
ahead.
some
Go ahead.
consistency.
Yes. Well, it is nice. I mean, for the lineup and for like the sound of the band. I mean, sometimes it's okay when you get lineup changes, the sound wise, but it is nice to just kind of like stay the same.
Yeah.
So I think you'll really like it when we get around to Thrice because it's been the same 4 guys since the very beginning. So
Yeah.
we don't even have to worry about that. So. All right, man, let's go ahead and dive on into the first album, 2008's Demo from No Sleep Records. You made just a few comments on this album already, Josh, but what else do you think about 2008's Demo album?
I like it. This one, it was just very like it's very blunt. It's very angry. It's in your face. It gets in. It gets out. I will say this is one thing that I do like about this band is album like a full length album is like 20 minutes long.
Yeah. That's I was gonna
And
say if you were just going out for like to run a couple of errands for 20 minutes, just pop in like the first three albums. One of the first three albums, and
right,
you'll be
yeah.
good. Honestly, you probably play all three albums in that time period too.
Well, I just like go back to Daughters too. I'm like, oh
Yes, yeah.
yeah, get in and get out.
Right, exactly. Here is my
Beautiful.
point. Here's what I have to say on it. All right, we're done. On to the
Yep,
next one. Yeah.
beautiful.
Songs on this album include "In Negotiating the Charade," "Huckleberry," "We Hate Fred Phelps.com." By the way, is he even still alive? I was trying to think about that the other day.
I don't know who Fred Phelps is.
You don't even know who Fred Phelps is?
Mm-mm.
Westboro Baptist.
Oh, okay.
That was the leader of them. I think he's
For
dead, but I could be
for
wrong.
some reason, I was going right to like Michael Phelps, and I was just like, I was like, that's Michael.
Yeah, think of it that way and then go read the lyrics and be like, this doesn't make any sense. No. Yeah, we hate fredphelps.com, Broken Records, which will be re-recorded for the next album, Hipsterectomy, which is actually written by the drummer Jeremy Subsnick. And this is actually be the only time in Touché Amoré history that Jeremy Baum, the vocalist, wouldn't write any of the songs lyrically.
Huh.
You also
What was he
have
doing? Just like showing up?
I guess, man. Who, the drummer?
No, the vocalist.
What do you mean?
You say he wasn't writing any of the lyrics, so like, what the hell was he doing?
No. This song Hipsterectomy, this lyrics were written by Jeremy Subsnick, the drummer. I'm saying this is the only song in Touché Amoré's history that Jeremy wasn't the lyric writer.
I thought you said this album.
No. Just this song. Just this song.
I
No,
got
no, no.
you.
No, just this song. Uh you also
It's like,
have
well, God, it's the best
what?
gig ever. You just like show up to practice and you're like, all right, oh, you want me to sing this?
You want me
All
to
right.
sing? How do you want me to sing this? You want me to sing it this way? Okay, easy enough. All right,
Oh, the
cool.
same way as all the others. All right.
Easy. I can do that. You also have Changing Lanes, Scene is to be Seen, and the finale, Honest Sleep, which would also be re-recorded on the next album.
This album feels way too much like Kids Like
What do you
Us.
mean? What do you mean?
It like even the names of the songs and stuff, like
Like they're too
how
long or too crazy or
no, just like similar. I just wanted to see
like
when
similar to each other?
yeah.
I guess I don't understand what you mean.
So the album
If you
I'm
listeners
talking
know what he
about,
means, write it in the comment section.
the album I'm talking about is Kids Like Us. It's a self-titled
Oh, gotcha.
2006.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't understand what the heck you meant.
Yeah, tracks on that one are You Know Your Life Sucks, Waking Up, Skate and Annoy, Motherfucker Crystal Lake, Don't Fake the Punk, Lars is a Fascist, Fuck the Art Bar, Monster Squad, Carrier Ghost, Rap
What in the
Bones,
world?
Meet Me at the Swing Set, and Wacky Frisbee.
Yeah, maybe they were fans of Kids Like Us. What year was that album? 2006, you said?
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe they were fans of Kids Like Us.
See,
Who
also,
knows?
like, because this album comes out in 2008, right?
Yes, this one, yeah.
Okay, so I've already kind of started closing my years off to new bands coming around. You know, like I've already like I don't know, this was just kind of like a weird time. I didn't get into a
Oh,
lot
you're
of
saying
new
2008?
bands from
Okay.
like 2008 to probably like 2012.
Yeah. Yeah, the
But
cutoff period,
yeah, where
little
I just kind of
vacation.
like, yeah, I don't know.
All right, I got enough bands to listen to. I don't need any more.
I'm good. I don't need to
The
listen to
club
any
is
more music.
closed.
If you're in
Oh
now, you
man.
made the cut.
Congratulations. Got anything else on the 2008's demo?
No, I do like it. Like there were a couple times I kind of like found myself laughing a little bit because I was just like, God, like this, like it's just like evident in a couple songs where I'm like, all right, you're like scene policing,
What do you mean scene policing?
like
Describe that for the listeners.
or like hipsterectomy. like stuff like that. Like I don't know, there were a couple tracks that I just like kind of got a vibe of like this isn't your scene, man.
Oh, okay.
And I was just kind of like, all
We
right,
don't
well,
want you here.
like a way to be elitist. That's just one of my things that like, and this album, like you were saying, is kind of different from a lot of the other ones. A little bit more
Yeah,
angry and it's
yeah,
adolescent.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, that's one of the things that drives me crazy is like gatekeeping on anything. And I hate the gatekeeping on the scene by like local bands and stuff. I'm just like,
Just let me in, bro.
like you're
Wouldn't
just
you
being
be
the biggest.
happy that I like your band?
Yeah, you're just being the biggest hypocrite because like you'll have lyrics about acceptance and this is a place for acceptance
Right.
and then
Why
those
don't you
guys,
accept me?
yeah, those guys in any scene anywhere are always the gatekeepers, you know.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Dumb.
hypocrisy.
Alrighty, that is 2008's Demo from No Sleep Records. After a short West Coast tour, the band re entered the studio to record their first full length album. Now, here's where we get some lineup changes. So stick with me, Josh.
Yay.
I know this is your favorite part of the episodes. Okay, so founding member and drummer Jeremy Supnick would leave the band before recording the band's first full-length album, but in the end was credited on the album notes under drum tracking. So he did contribute drums on the album, but he wasn't credited under the section with the actual lineup.
On the
They just kind
self-titled?
of, huh?
On the self-titled?
No, no, no,
Or
no,
on
not
Dead Horse?
on Dead Horse, the next
Okay.
album.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working our way to Dead Horse here. So he's not going to be under the actual official lineup, but he does contribute drums, and they kind of give him a nice little nod and recognition under drum tracking. Um, Now because of Jeremy leaving, the band actually almost disbanded. But in the end, they ultimately decided to continue on, and Jeremy would be replaced by Elliot Babin on drums, who would stick around to this day. He is not featured on this album, but I believe they actually give him credit. Why? I'm not really sure. I could be wrong about that. It kind of got a little weird. The lineup kind of got a little strange at this point. It's like you got people in and out, and yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we got a new drummer. He's not actually on the next album. Um, the old drummer is, but it's the credits are weird. So anyway, that's where we are. Which leads us to 2019's to the beat of a dead horse from 6131 Records.
2019?
Did I say 2019?
Yeah.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
2009.
Probably why is because, and this is another reason why I brought it up earlier, but they end up re-recording this album for its 10-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's 2019. So anyway, let me start that over again. 2009's the original, the OG, to the beat of a dead horse from 6131 Records, produced by Alex Estrada and mastered by Paul Miner, who has done work on Identity Crisis by Thrice, Atreyu's first two EPs, Newfound Glories, Tip of the Iceberg, and Resurrection. Do any of those ring a bell to you at all, Josh?
Yeah, they did Resurrection by
Yes.
Newfound Glory.
Paul Miner did. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one.
He's done work on that.
That's a good one. That's
Okay.
like a later one for them too. That one was probably came out in like 2000
Wasn't it like 18 or 19?
16?
Okay, it was a little later. Okay.
Yeah. Um and then you said Atreyu's first two EPs?
Yeah, like way early in the 2000s. I can look them up real quick here.
What was the one before The Curse?
Good question. Good question. Their first full-length album before The Curse was Suicide Notes and Butterfly Kisses.
Okay.
So
before that.
Yes. So in 2001, they had an EP called Fractures in the Facade of Your Porcelain Body. And then in 1999, they had their first EP called Visions.
Okay. God damn, they've been around a long time.
And they're still going now.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, songs on this album include "And Now It's Happening in Mine." I love that clap to begin the song. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You also have "On a Sleep," "Cadence," "Throwing Copper," "Swimming with Sharks," "History Reshits Itself," featuring Geoff Rickley on vocals from the band Thursday. Were you a Thursday fan? Or am I
Eh,
thinking? I may be thinking of somebody else that I knew
they're
that was a
okay.
Thursday fan.
I'm not like a big Thursday guy, but they're all right.
Right. You also have Suckerfish, Broken Records 9, the number 9. Always Running, Never Looking Back, featuring Jeff Eden on vocals from the band Modern Life is War, and the finale, Adieu. And like I said, the album would be re recorded and released in 2019, titled Dead Horse X, Roman numeral 10. What do you think of 2009's To the Beat of a Dead Horse, Josh? Oh my gosh, what's happening to your background? Whoa. Whoa. Don't move. Don't even
I
breathe.
don't know, dude. Weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Um, I like this one. I got stuck for a second because that song nine, I was like, why is that making me think of something else? And then it was the album Circle of Nine by Disfiguring the Goddess. It's like that
What?
song put it put like an album image in my head, and then I was
Yeah.
like, who is
Hmm.
that? Yeah, and then,
Hmm.
yeah, of course the album is called Circle of Nine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I like this one. It's not as angry as the last album.
They're toning it down. They're toning it down a little.
Yeah. Music's good throughout all of these albums for me. So it's really the only barrier for me, probably why I wasn't more into them and Law
The lyrics
Dispute is because like the spoken word thing
or the okay, the
mostly.
vocal.
Yeah,
Okay, the
yeah,
vocal style. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Is there any song or songs that kind of stick out to you on this album? In a good way
Ooh,
or a bad way?
let me go back here real quick.
See, that's why I'm one from you on these albums because I know again, like you're not as I'm like, I mean, this is one of my favorite bands.
Right.
So I mean, I could sit here and be like, oh yeah, this song. I want to know what you think because this is more or less your first time really going through their discography,
Yeah.
and I appreciate your opinion.
I
I
liked
want your opinion.
I liked Honest Sleep. Um, I'm trying to think which ones kind of jumped out at me. Yeah, I feel like the first two or three tracks are all really good. I feel like they don't have a whole lot of like downtime in albums, which I like. Like there's
Of course, it
usually
helps
just
too
like,
when of course it helps when your songs are only about like a minute long. So
yeah. Well, some albums you get to like you get five or six tracks in, and then you know you've got like three really slow or kind of weird songs
right,
coming after that, and then hopefully they finish strong. Um, Not everybody does, but I feel like on each album there might be like one or two songs that are kind of off the path from the others.
right.
So that's good. I think
Whoa, that's strange looking.
I like Suckerfish.
Were you trying to listen to some?
Well, I was trying to go through and like see because I knew there were a couple at the end here that I liked.
What happened to your method of screenshotting?
I did a lot of this when I didn't really have my phone with me.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then 9 was the other one.
For certain reasons we've already covered.
And because it reminds me of another album. No.
Oh man, yeah, this is a good one. I think this is actually the second album that I ever listened to them. First one is the first one I ever got exposed to was the next album that's coming up here, but this is a good one. I remember um, being really interested by obviously the artwork, which by the way, all the artwork on their albums is done by um, uh, band member Nick Steinhardt, who is currently on bass. He will eventually switch to guitar here after a while. But
That's
so it's
cool. At least
it's
they're
yeah,
doing
they
it
do a
like
lot of
in-house.
DIY. Yeah, yeah, that's another thing that I really liked. Something else I just thought about this too. Something else to know about this band is they love their vinyls. So much so that like you can go like on their website, dude, and go look at their discography and how many times they've done like different vinyl pressings on each album is like ridiculous. So they're definitely into the vinyl work. But yeah, this is a really good album. You can tell they're starting to mature um, lyrically and tone wise. Kind of like you said, kind of toning it down just a little bit with the teenage angst there. Alrighty, that is 2009's. Did you have something else?
No. Yeah, I was
Oh,
just
you look
gonna
like you were going
say,
to say
like,
something.
yeah, it feels like it gets. I mean, that's one thing I'll say for these albums. Like, it feels like it matures kind of as it
Right.
goes on.
You
So,
kind of
which is what you want.
you can feel them growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, which I think really kind of lends with, like I said, those last 2 to 3 albums that they've released, being dealing with death and him having to come to terms with his mom's cancer and her passing away from all that and
Yeah.
such. So yeah, that is 2009's "To the Beat of a Dead Horse" from 6131 Records. All right, Josh, put on your seatbelt because we got some more lineup changes here. All right,
Woo!
so I know you love them, man. I know you love them. All right, so due to bassist Nick Steinhardt's work schedule, he would not be able to tour full time with the band until 2013. That is 2 more albums later. So, a friend of the band, Tyler Kirby, would join in his absence on tour when he wouldn't be able to play. So, he'd be on bass for them. Now, in November 2009, the band would record a live 8 song set at Emerson College radio station 88.9 Words in Boston, Massachusetts for a show entitled
88.9, the
Yeah,
worst.
Words. Boston, Massachusetts. For a show entitled Radio Beats. Hit me with the beats.
If it's in Boston,
Oh, try
it'd be
it.
like
Try it.
WEIS live at the Wes. Go fuck yourself.
There you go, man. Go Boston Bruins. Anyway, the show was entitled Radio Beat, but unfortunately the set that they recorded never made the airwaves as the show was canceled right before the set was released. Wah, wah, wah.
Fucking weak.
But that's huh?
So that's fucking weak.
Yeah, that's weak. Hey, that's okay though, man, because they decided to take that live recording and release it on vinyl. Yay,
Okay.
more vinyl.
More
Just
vinyl.
another reason for the band to release it on vinyl. So why not? Why not?
That's what everybody needs. More vinyl around their
We need
house.
we need more hipster vibes in our houses in America. The youth need hipster vibes. Everybody should be issued by the government a vinyl record player and a sample of vinyls just to get them started. A starter kit, a hipster starter kit.
I have
Oh
one
man.
newer vinyl, and it's like the most disgraceful thing I own.
What is it?
It's it's a Day to Remember album.
Is it really?
Yeah, it
Did
was
you
the
buy that or
one.
somebody give it to you?
I don't remember.
That's weird. Because I haven't seen that. And I've
It
looked
w-
at your vinyl collection.
it's the one that came after Homesick.
Oh, what is that one?
I
That's
don't
a good
remember.
that's a good question, man. That's a good question. We about to find out. What separates me from you?
Oh, I just
Okay.
remember it folded out all weird.
Interesting. I wonder how you came across that one. Because that does not seem like you would be one
Who
to
knows?
your style. That does not seem like you would go out and be like, I want to buy this on vinyl.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
So
I have a
interesting.
milk crate full of vinyls, but they're all like old vinyls.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, yeah. Hey Josh, got a question for you.
Okay.
How much do you like split EPs?
I really like a good split EP
Let's talk about some split EPs,
when
Josh.
it's two bands that I like.
Oh wow, yeah. 2000,
This is a good split. This is a good split.
2000. This is my favorite split that they have.
Well,
2010s.
what's dumb is on Spotify, the other two splits, they don't give you the other bands. They just give you
Really?
Touche Amoré. Yeah.
Well, and maybe there may be a reason for that on this one. We'll get to that. But anyway, this is 2010s Searching for a Pulse slash The Worth of the World, Touche Amore slash La Dispute split from No Sleep Records. This is the last album for guitarist, founding member Tyson White. And the recording of this album actually happened during La Dispute's Wildlife album recording sessions in November 2010. Wildlife is a good album. If you like La Dispute or if you're into La Dispute, go check it out. Wildlife is a really good album.
Are the two bands
Uh,
pretty close?
yes. So close, Josh, that they actually wrote these songs together. Now,
Okay.
Law Dispute, if you're not familiar with them, of course you kind of talk just a little bit kind of about their genre. They are spoken word, post-hardcore, emo, experimental rock, and more of their early stuff. Not their newer stuff is really chill and kind of indie.
Yep.
What is happening over there?
There we
But
go.
their early stuff, more of their early stuff is along the lines of screamo also. Now, Touche Amore vocalist Jeremy Baum spoke upon working on the split EP with Law Dispute by saying, Law Dispute tried to be aware of Touche's strong points and tendencies musically throughout the writing process to give the record a pretty steady feel despite being from two different bands. While Jordan Dreyer, vocalist of Law Dispute, spoke about Touche Amore by saying, both our bands share similar ideologies and approaches to music, so it made sense to collaborate on something. So all four of these songs are going to feature both vocalists. The first two, which are I'll Get My Just Deserves, and I'll Deserve Just That, was written by Touche Amore, or played by Touche Amore, with Jordan Dreyer guest vocaling, you could say. And then the last two songs, How I Feel and Why It Scares Me, were played by Law Dispute with guest vocals of Jeremy Baum from Touche Amore. But this split was more of a collaboration, whereas all the other ones that we're going to see in Touche Amore's catalog is basically them doing their thing and the other band doing their thing and not really cohesive. That's why to me this is my favorite one, because it feels like from the first song all the way to the end it's a smooth feeling, a smooth transition all the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas you get to like the next one that we're going to talk about, Touche Amore, Make Do and Men, it's a good one, but I mean you can definitely tell it's two different bands and they got two different styles, you know.
Yeah.
This one just it really felt like it was a good blend between the two bands. So what do you think, Josh, of Searching for a Pulse slash The Worth of the World split EP?
I like it. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like you were saying, it feels like it goes together. Like in split
Right.
EPs don't feel that way a lot. They feel like they're
Right.
broken up, you know?
Well, and I mean, their intention for a split EP is there's several different reasons why for it. It's one is to introduce you to another band. I mean, if you knew who Touche Amoré was, but you didn't know who Law Dispute was, I mean, here's your way to, hear something from Law Dispute, get a little taste.
Yeah.
The other reason for doing it a lot for some of these bands, a lot of times, is it's cheaper to do that, to record it with two bands coming together and paying for studio sessions, stuff like that. So there's different reasons for doing it, but to me, it's definitely a way to listen to more bands that maybe I never heard of. Like I never even heard of Make Do and Men before, until I listened to their split with Touche Amore. I knew who. Let's see who else we got here. I never heard of the Casket Lottery before until listening to this split EP, or the split EP that they do with Touche Amore. I knew who Title Fight was, and of course I know who Circus Survive is. But there's other bands that I listen to that have done split EPs that, yeah, I've never heard of the other band that they're doing it with, and so it's just kind of another avenue to experience a new band that again, you never heard of. So,
Right.
have you listened to all the split EPs, or just the ones that we're talking about today?
Just the ones for today so far.
So is what ranking them, is this your favorite? I mean, if it's got to be a deal where it's like, oh, somebody's got to take number one, then that's fine. But
Yeah, I think at least so far.
okay, okay,
I was gonna say, Story so far has done several splits.
who have they done with?
Maker, Stick to Your Guns, and then there's one
Really?
that's not on Spotify, but I know I own the album. It's like their oldest one, and they were like, it was only like one of the original guys was still in the band.
I didn't know that they did one with Stick to Your Guns.
Yeah, it's
Nice,
what's it called?
noise.
Yeah, it's just called The Story So Far, Stick to Your Guns Split. They always do that. They don't make like a name
Usually just
for
keep it
it.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the other one's just
this is
called,
the
it's literally called Split with Maker.
yeah. I think this is, well, there may be one other one that they do, but I think this may be the only one that they actually have an actual title, not you know Touche Amore Law Dispute Split.
Yeah. The the split with Stick to Your Guns only makes sense if like you've ever seen like the two of them live. Like they tour a lot together and
Right,
they're all like pretty close. Um and yeah, that was actually how I found out about Story so far because they'd only put out the first album then, or like their first big one Under Soil and Dirt. Yeah, that was
right.
2011. So I saw them at a show probably in 2011 or 2012. And yeah, they were opening for Stick to Your Guns.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and that's how these two bands are. I mean, they're really close. They've gone on tour at this time. They're on tour a lot together.
yeah.
So that is the first split EP for Touche Amore 2010, Searching for a Pulse / The Worth of the World. Check it out. Let's go on to the next split EP with Make Do and Mend 2010's Touche Amore Make Do and Mend split from 6131 Records. This split and the last split that we talked about was actually recorded in the same session. This again is going to be the last album for Tyson White. He did this split EP, or this split and the last split, again in the same recording session. Make Do and Mend basically is under the post-hardcore genre. That's all I could really find them under. Songs on this album include Smoked Signals and Hideaways from Touche Amore. And then you have Hand Me Downs and Cobwebs from Make Do and Mend. What do you think about this one, Josh?
I like it for the most part. I didn't get to listen to, like I was telling you, the second half of that because for whatever reason they split all these off, and then Make Do and Men doesn't have it under their page.
Yeah.
But just kind of flipping through some of their stuff, I don't know that I really care for them.
It's not the greatest. I mean, they're okay. I mean, there was nothing that like jumped out to me, be like, oh, I gotta listen to these you lot more, you
Yeah.
know. Um, the next split EP that they have with Casca Lottery, that kind of piqued my interest personally. Because again, I'd never even heard of Casca Lottery, but
You've
yeah,
never
it may
heard of
do.
Casket Lottery?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you make it sound like I'm an idiot. You've
No,
never heard of them?
I just feel like it's one of those names, like that.
No, I'd never heard of them before. Not until, I was introduced to Touché Amoré, and then this is actually the first time going through the discography in this episode and everything, doing the notes and such. This is the first time that I've actually gotten to listen to the other band's songs from the splits besides La Dispute, because I already knew who La Dispute was and I already was into them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that is 2010's Touché Amoré, Make Do and Men split from 6131 Records. Okay, here is the final lineup change, Josh. I know you're relieved.
Oh, thank
So,
God.
so like I said, Tyson White, founding guitarist, is replaced by bassist Nick Steinhardt. He would be switching to guitar full time, and Tyler Kirby, who joined the band on bass to fill in for Nick when he wasn't able to tour, would join the band full time in that vacant spot. Now, Josh, we get to the good stuff. I'm talking about 2011's Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me from Death Wish Records. This album is produced by Ed Rose, who has done work on The Week's End from Emery, Motion City Soundtracks, I Am the Movie. I know you still like them?
Yeah,
Motion
I don't
City?
really like their newer stuff, but
Yeah. You still listen to the old stuff though, right?
yeah, like I Am the Movie,
The other
Commit This
one.
to
There you
Memory,
go, yeah.
Dinosaur Life, and what was that one right before Dinosaur Life? Broken Heart, I remember was like the big single from that one. I can't remember. Even if it kills me. That's it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's done work with those bands. Now, when asked what Ed Rose thought of the demos Touché Amoré had sent him, he said this, quote, "We should record this live so it's raw as possible." End quote. I like that. I do
Raw
like
as
that.
possible.
They're going full full Chariot on their first album, man. Record it live. Uh this kind of makes sense with how short the songs are, but this album was actually recorded in just 5 days, Josh. 5 days. That's a work week. 5 days. Insane.
That is pretty crazy to
Yeah.
like, and just written then or recorded.
Recorded. Just recorded.
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
Yeah. But they
That's
have
like
said too that
one.
like their writing is pretty quick too. Because I think it was when they get to stage 4, which is their second to newest album. I think they said that one took like 9 months, but it was kind of like sporadic. But they've said that like their writing doesn't even take that long. Of course, when again these first few albums, when your songs are like an average of like a minute long, minute 10, average. I mean, how much writing do you really need to do? You know, especially if you're like backlogged with like guitar riffs and lyrics and everything. You know,
Yeah, that's just crazy. It's like that's 5 days. That's like one part per day. So like drums in one day, vocals in one day. Like that's impressive.
maybe they're trying to take the Josh Scoggin approach too, of like I only want to be in there for like 2 weeks because if I stay in there any longer, I'm gonna overthink it. Because that's
Yeah,
how that's
maybe.
how he goes with it. He's like, I don't want to go any further than like 2 or 3 weeks in recording because if I do that, then I'm gonna overthink things and it's yeah. So which I get that. So maybe that's what they do. I don't know. When asked about the lyrics on this album, Jeremy Baum, vocalist, considered the lyrics to center around the deterioration of relationships and finding comfort in the distance from home while touring. Also saying, quote, it the album becomes relative to everything that was going on at that moment. And this album actually made number 6 on Rock Sound's annual Album of the Year list.
Ugh.
And
Morning, crew.
right. Fun fact for you, Josh. I'm gonna tell you something right now, man. Fun fact. Not everything. There's a lot of bands, dude, that I have found through one Manchester Orchestra, one way or another. And
Okay.
this is one of them. And the
I
reason
could see that.
or how I found Touché Amoré through Manchester Orchestra was I was watching a tour blog way back in the day, my youngin' days, and they actually had the first song off of this album on there. And I remember when it kicked in, it was just kind of like a montage. And I remember when it kicked in, I was like, what in the hell is this? Ah!
I love
Like
those
type it
moments
as fast as
where,
you can, man, right?
yeah, where you hear a song and you're just like, what?
I need this in my life. Inject
Yeah.
this into my veins. So yeah, dude, it's Manchester is like in everything, dude. Andy Hall is in everything. He's like it's like on the other guys, Lindell Global. We're in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me like when I start thinking about like some of the different bands that I've gotten into or even just like the connections to Manchester Orchestra or even just Andy Hall himself is just like crazy. He's on the new he's on that re-recorded Artist in the Ambulance doing a guest vocal. It's like everybody knows this dude. I saw him on a podcast with Kesha. It's like they were like best friends apparently. It's like what the heck? Like who do you not know, dude?
Yeah.
Anyway, just a little fun fact for you. That's why I
I
love
wanted
Manchester Orchestra, man.
I wanted to ask you before I forgot again, because I've thought of it a couple
Go
times
for
and
it.
I keep forgetting.
Go for it.
Um, have you seen any of the videos that where they take somebody having like what they think is kind of a private freak out, but like people are seeing them have it, and they'll put like either Law Dispute or Touche Amore music behind it.
Uh-uh.
There's like one in
No.
particular that I can think of that's like so funny. This guy was like yelling at this girl out in the street, and then he was like, "It's just like you don't even care, you don't even care." And then yeah, just like but it made me think of another. It made me think of like a TikTok channel that I know where, um, this guy will take like 90s sitcom stuff, like serious moments from like a 90s
Yes.
sitcom,
Yeah.
and he'll put like a Midwest emo like riff to it, you know? And so
Yeah.
yeah, it just like it fits like way too well. It's like Corey and Topanga breaking up, like set to this like yeah, yeah. Or the dad from Growing Pains talking to like one of the
like
kids about drugs or
like
something.
Bob Saget talking to the girls at like the high point of the show from Full
Yeah,
House or something. Yeah. Now is that
so
so?
good.
But the one you're talking about though was like the freakouts with like Law Dispute or Touche Amore behind it. Is that like TikToks?
I know I've seen it on there before, but before I just seen it on like YouTube or like,
Oh man, I gotta find these. I
just some
wonder how
kind
to
of
look
short.
that. Okay, I'll have
Yeah.
to look that up. Okay, so songs on this album include Squiggly Line. Yeah, it's actually called I think you pronounce it tilde. It's a key on your keyboard. Did you know that?
Tilled?
Yeah.
Where
Well,
are
it's
you,
the
Tilled? I'm looking for it.
the little sign. It's up in the top left corner next to your escape key.
Yeah.
I have no clue what it means or what it's for, but it's there.
What is with the tilled? What is the other thing?
It looks like a backwards comma.
Is it
Or
like what is it a
not comma, but looks like somebody's eye kind of slanted with like a funny
I was
unibrow,
gonna say
funny eyebrow.
they're not for like English letters, like for English
Yeah.
words, whatever. Don't can't you just put it like above stuff? Or
I don't know
we
if you can
sound
put
we
those
sound
alone.
so ignorant right now. Neither of us
How do
knows what
you
the
do
fuck
this?
these mean.
We're American. We're living up to our American standards. We don't know
We're
what anything
Americans.
is. Oh man. Anyway, so you got Tilt as the
I don't have
opener.
to change my mind, regardless of the facts that are placed in front of me.
You also have Pathfinder America. The Great Repetition, Artificial, Uppers Downers, Crutch, Method Act, Face Ghost, Sesame, Wants Needs, Condolences, Home Away from Here, and the finale, Amends. I'm waiting, Josh. I've been waiting to hear what your opinion is on 2011's Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me, which was the first album that I was introduced to Touche Amore.
If I were to say that this album was
Honest opinions,
the
100%. Break my heart.
if I was to say this album is the equivalent of Big Sky Noise to Circa Survive, do you think that would be an apt comparison?
I could see that. I could see
I
that.
I feel like
Is that a
Circa
good thing?
Survive, yeah, Circa Survive had
Okay.
some good ones, but then when Big Sky Noise came out, that was
That
really like
was
it's like, okay, this
woo.
band is pretty amazing.
That's a good album
Um,
front to back, man, and back to front.
yeah, this one kind of felt that way. Like it had a similar like production feel to it, like really clean, like done really well. And then I don't know, there's just something about this album that like makes it gives me Big Sky Noise kind of vibes.
Fun fact for you, the way that I was introduced to Big Sky Noise from Circus Survive was one of your ex-girlfriends had that on CD and she let me borrow it, and then I never gave it back. And I kept it forever. I think I still have it somewhere around here.
What which one?
I
Give
think
me
it
some
was
initials.
I think it was Lindsay, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't feel bad about that.
She's really
For the
into
win.
yeah, she's really into Circus Survive, so yeah.
Yeah. No, anyway, that was a good album. Anyway,
Oh, it's so good.
yes. So good. So
I
good.
fell apart in your arms.
But anyway, we're talking about Touche Amore, Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me. Yes, this feels like up to this point in their discography, I mean, obviously their most polished, mature banger, man.
This feels settled.
This
It
feels right.
feels
This
like
feels right,
this,
Josh.
yeah, it feels like this is going to be our sound for the most
Yes.
part going forward, you
Right.
know?
Right. This is who we are. Accept
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this for
Any
sure. And like without me knowing that much about the band, like this felt like the album where they found their sound.
and that's why I fell in love with it. I mean, being the first album that I listened to, it was just like, oh, next song. Oh, it's so good. This is so good, man. I love I mean, it's a good album front to back, one of those, but I love the 3 song kind of crossover from Uppers Downers to Crutch to Method Act. It all feels like one song together, just the way it's kind of like transitions, you know.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then just like the way that they like come in there on the first song with just like the nice little guitar tones and then just like punch you like straight in the face. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, what is your oh no, I already asked you for your opinion. What is can I get your opinion again? I love this album so much. I want to hear your opinion twice.
Tell me it's good. Tell me it's
Tell me.
good.
Just tell me it's good. Just please don't break my heart. No. I if that's but that's my other thing too, is like especially with this, because I've been looking forward to doing this band. We were gonna do it a while back. Um, but I just kept kind of putting it off. But I mean, I know that it's not really up your alley and you haven't really gone through the discography. I want your honest opinion on it. If you hated an album, if you hated a song, I want to hear that, you know. So but anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean there's not I mean I think I kind of told you my negatives already that I mean
Yeah. Which I
um,
understand that, you know, and I get that.
And I didn't have like really much like, of any negative opinion on this album. Like I like this album. I think it's pretty good.
Any songs in particular that stand out to you?
I like the opener. I like Pathfinder. Yeah, I mean, I think you were right. That run through the middle there,
Yeah,
they all
uppers
kind
and
of
downers through
blend.
method. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, those probably hit the best for me, like the first few. I mean, the whole album like holds pretty well. I don't ever feel like it
right.
just like tanks at any point.
Hmm.
But that's the thing too, is like I've only listened to each of these albums like one time too. So I'm sure as I listen to them more, some stuff will kind of sink in a little bit more.
Yeah, cool, man. Got anything else on parting the sea and between brightness and me?
I
Closing,
don't
closing
think
thoughts. Closing thoughts.
so. Um, we haven't really talked numbers much.
Spotify numbers. Yeah, let's hear those.
They're not as high as I would have thought.
Okay.
You have 4 million on the opening track,
Hmm.
but then it falls in half on Pathfinder,
Hmm.
down another 300,000 on Great Repetition, down another 500,000 on Artificial. It just kind of steadily goes down until Method Act. It comes back up to 1,200,000. And then, yeah, all under a million there. Last couple tracks are like a million. I would have just thought this album would have been a little more widely listened to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing too about Touché Amoré is they're not. I mean, they're just not like a well-known band out there. I mean, they're still. I mean, they're eventually going to sign on to Epitaph Records here for the last couple of albums, but they're just not like I
I'm
don't know. They
surprised
just
Epitaph Records still exists. I'm going to say that frankly. I mean, they've had some of my favorite bands over the years, but
yeah.
I'm surprised that they are still around.
How are you still around, man? Yeah. Well, like even like Victory Records is like I don't even think I know anybody that's on Victory Records anymore. I never even hear about Victory Records anymore, but they're still a record label.
Yeah.
I mean, that was our jam back in the day, dude.
Victory.
Victory. Alrighty, yeah. That is
Will
2000.
you still kiss me the same? Each one of those promos is just like burned into my fucking brain.
I always think of the intro. I always think of the intro song on those DVDs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, those are that is 2011's Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me from Death Wish Records. Do you still have your Victory Records DVD? I still have mine.
No.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so. Why do I even ask? Why do I even ask if you still have anything?
I've been through the ringer, bud.
The Joshua Gary life story will be coming to you soon in a theater near you. Who's playing you? Who's the lead role?
Um
Zach Galifianakis.
ooh. Kurt Russell with this mustache.
Kurt Russell. Not bad. Not
He's
bad.
gonna play me from the future.
Gosh,
It's gonna be an old version of
he's
me.
retelling the story. So who's gonna
Yeah.
play the younger version of you then?
Okay. Kurt Russell does
Okay.
the voice of the narrator who is me in the future.
We've got way up top. Go ahead.
And who plays me? Who should play me?
Oh man.
I can't think of anybody like realistic.
That's like no. The first young guy that comes to mind is Timothy. What is it? Charlemagne? Is it Charlemagne?
Uh,
But I'm like, don't
Timot-
say him.
yeah, Timothée Chalamet. No,
Timothy.
I'm not pretty enough to be Timotei. Timotei could never grow a mustache like this.
That's true. What you lack in his beautiful features, you make up for in your facial hair.
Yeah.
Can't
Maybe
think of anybody though.
maybe Michael Sarah. That'd be fun.
Oh my gosh.
I used to be a
Oh
curly
man.
headed fuck. That could be fun.
That is true. He did have curly hair. I do still have proof. I have pictures. Yes. Alrighty. That was fun. That was fun, man. Okay, so success from this last album led to foreign exposure and setting the band up for their first headlining tour across the sea in Europe. Now, while the band was in the UK touring, the band stopped by one BBC radio for a live performance of a 4-song set, which included Law Disputes vocalist Jordan Dreyer on one of the songs, which actually came from their split EP. I can't remember which song it was though. But Law Dispute was in Europe on the same tour with Touché Amoré, so that's why they were able to do it together. Fun fact too, Josh, while they were recording the live on BBC Radio 1, the day they recorded was actually the first day of the London riots. And while the band was recording, and in between takes, they would stop and watch the live coverage of the riots on TV between sessions. I'd forgotten about the London riots until I read that. It's like, oh,
That's crazy.
yeah. All right, Josh, we got one more split EP to talk about in this episode, and then we'll call it quits for the day. We got 2012 Touché Amoré / The Casket Lottery split from No Sleep Records. Now, the idea of this split between the two bands was actually thought of during a 2010 tour with the band Coalesce, which is actually made up of members, or was made up of members from the band The Casket Lottery. See, at this time, in 2010, The Casket Lottery was broken up, on hiatus, wherever you want to say.
They've been together for a stupid amount of time.
They have, yep. Their
first full length was in like 99. And that's the first like full length.
Full length, yeah. We're not even talking about like demos or EPs.
Yeah.
Maybe even some splits. Yeah. So anyway, again, while the idea coming up on a 2010 tour between the two bands, both vocalists Jeremy Baum from Touché Amoré and Nathan Ellis, who was the vocalist in The Casket Lottery, agreed that in the future the band would do a split album together. Now, like I said, The Casket Lottery at that time was not together, but Nathan told Jeremy that there was actually the former members of The Casket Lottery were actually in talks to reunite, which would eventually happen and lead to this split EP. Now, much like the first two splits that Touché Amoré was a part of, this split and the next split that would come after with the band Pianos Become the Teeth were actually recorded in the same session. Did you have something
Pianos
to say?
Become the Teeth.
Did you listen to them yet?
That's a cool album. Oh, that's a cool name.
Yeah. Did you listen to them yet?
No.
Okay. They're different from Touché Amoré. I mean, some of the earlier stuff has some screaming in it, but like their newer stuff is more kind of artsy, I guess. I don't know. You just have to go listen
Pianos
to it.
Become the Teeth would be a cool name for a band like Dance Club Massacre or Horse the Band, like somebody that uses a lot of synth, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like that would be cool.
Pianos.
Pianos on his head.
Oh gosh. No, the song that they actually have on the split with Touché Amoré, Pianos Become the Teeth, is actually pretty good. It's called Hiding. It's a pretty
That
good
is
one.
such a cool name.
Pianos Become the Teeth. Yeah, it's a pretty good. I almost said album. Pretty cool.
That's what I
band
said.
name. I know. That's why I almost said it
Like,
too.
that's a sick album.
I mean, band. I mean, album. Well, I mean, it could be an album and a band. Yeah, and a song. Our band name is Pianos Become the Teeth. our self-titled debut Pianos Become the Teeth with the leading intro song Pianos Become the Teeth. Or I guess it's just like a four song EP. First song is Pianos, second song is Become, third song is and then Teeth is the finale. Yes. I like it. All right, songs on this split with Casket Lottery include Whale Belly and from Touche Amoré, Unsatisfied from Touche Amoré, which is actually a cover of the band from the band The Replacements. That name sounds familiar, but I can't. Nobody's popping up in my head right off the top of my. Casket Lottery songs include White Lies, which is an original, and Beach House cover Myth. I do like I said, I talked about this just a little bit ago. Make Do Amends, I wasn't like really impressed. It was okay. I do like these two songs that Casket Lottery put out on this album. I know one of them again, it's just a cover. It's a really good cover. And I went back and I listened to the original, and it's way better than the original in my opinion. But I have since listened to some of their other original stuff on their own, full lengths and everything like that. And they're pretty good. I'm interested. Like I said, they've piqued my interest. But yeah, what do you think about this split, Josh?
I like it. I like Casket Lottery. At least some of their stuff. I mean, they've got a pretty big catalog. I've not gone through really any of that. I was gonna say the Replacements are an '80s band. I don't know that I
That's what I was
necessarily
thinking.
want to say these guys are punk, but I think maybe they think they're punk.
They're not punk, but they think they're punk, and that's okay. We'll just let them keep thinking that. Yeah.
I wanted to see one of the ones from like the mid '80s.
The band?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds about right, maybe. Oh, he's dancing. Get it. Get it. Go Walrus. Go Walrus. What do you say? What do you say, man? Oh, that's not a good face. It's like a diarrhea face. Or I smelled something bad's face.
It feels like
Maybe
that
he smelled his
kind of
own diarrhea.
Oh my God. No, it feels like that kind of new wave punk that's
The
like
Replacements are.
yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
don't really care for it.
Yeah. I was not really a fan of the cover, to be honest. It just kept repeating over and over and over. And I just wanted it to stop. I wanted it to end. So yeah. Well, that is it.
What do you think of this one?
It's okay. Like you said, I like Whale Belly. Whale Belly. That's hard to say. Whale Belly. I like Whale Belly.
Webby Whaley.
Webby Whaley. The original from Touche Amoré. Like I said, I wasn't really a fan of Unsatisfied, Touche's cover from the band The Replacements. But I do like the other two songs, the original White Lies from Casket Lottery and Beach House cover Myth by Casket Lottery. Both of those are really good too. I would say out of all the splits, this is probably let's see. This is probably my third favorite. I would say for me personally, there's no doubt that Searching for a Pulse and the Law Dispute Touche Amoré one is number one overall. And then I like there's only a song from each band on it, but the Pianos Become the Teeth and Touche Split is my second favorite. Both those songs that each band puts on there is really good. And then this one comes in third, I think. And then I would say May Do Amends after that. There's one other one with a band called Self Defense Family, I think. I haven't listened to that one yet. And I think from what I've read, it's kind of different. Like almost like that's kind of like a really big band with a bunch of different instruments, and there's like two songs on the split, and both bands play together on that on those two songs. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't listened to it yet. And then the Circus Survive and Touche technically did a split, but there's not like a physical album like all these other splits. It was like in promotion. We'll get to that, but that one's really good. And all they did was just cover a song from each other. And I like both covers. They were both really good. So, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. So, anything else you got to say, Josh, on the first half of the Touché Amoré discography and history?
I don't think so. I would say if you haven't, um, you know, I would say my entry point album is going to be, now I gotta go back.
I've lost my train of thought. Parting the Sea? To be a dead
Yes.
horse?
Yes,
Okay.
Parting the Sea.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Parting the Sea is going to be your entry point, I think.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. For sure. All right. So here is your lineup up to date. We got Jeremy Baum on vocals, Clayton Stevens on guitar, Nick Steinhardt on guitar, Tyler Kirby on bass, and Elliot Babin on drums. Josh, as our outro, I would like to hear your impression of Listener one more time. Make me laugh. Make me proud. If you don't know who Listener is, people go look it up.
You were my home and I'm your home, but I'm no place you want to be, so I'm out here again. Sparks hit behind my teeth. I won't say a word for fear of failure spreading.
Oh, that's too funny, man. You need to memorize those lyrics so you can do the facial expressions he does too, man. Oh, I know who you're going for as Halloween next year. Everybody's like, who the heck are you? Who? I'm Listener. I'm Dan from Listener.
I'm Listener.
That was it right there, man. Make sure to come back next week for part 2 of his Dan from Listener impression. Maybe he'll have the mustache even longer by then. He probably won't even have a mustache by then. He'll probably shave it off.
No.
He's gonna go with a soul patch next week. That's what he's gonna go with.
Oh.
A disgustingly long soul patch. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. All right, man. Let's get on out of here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @IsSurvivedByPro for news and the latest episode postings, not just on this show. Josh, get ready, but our other shows too. Tell us, Josh, a little bit about the Red Right Hand podcast.
Well, the Red Right Hand podcast is a show that is friendly to first-time and rewatchers of the Peaky Blinders.
I thought you were about to say it's family friendly. I was like, yeah, not family friendly.
No, not really.
Bring your children.
Yeah, we cover all 6 seasons of the Peaky Blinders. So if you've never watched the Peaky Blinders before, or if you've watched Peaky Blinders and thought, man, I wish there was a companion podcast to go along with this, because I'll tell you, there's just one out there, and that other one's not great. So you want to make sure to listen to the Red Right Hand podcast. Seriously, if you haven't watched Peaky Blinders, I would highly recommend it. There's a companion podcast there for you to walk you through each of those episodes as you watch.
Yes. What about the Throne of the Dragon, Josh? What is this Throne of the Dragon podcast? What am I getting into here?
Well, the Throne of the Dragon podcast is all about
all men must die.
It's all about Westeros. It's all about specifically
Westeros.
Yeah,
what is Westeros?
It's specifically about the HBO TV show House of the Dragon, and in the off season we are covering Fire and Blood, which is the book companion to House of the Dragon. And we're going to be covering that chapter by chapter. The first episode.
New episode alert. New episode alert.
Yeah,
new episode alert.
The first episode of our chapter by chapter is going to be coming out within the next couple days. After this drops, we're going to be recording that tomorrow. So stay tuned for
Tomorrow in
that.
podcast land.
Yeah, tomorrow in podcast land. That could be a couple days. So give or
Right.
take a couple days.
What's the time on it?
Yeah. Yeah, and this episode is going to be on Aegon's conquest. So we're going to start right at the very beginning.
Yes. So make sure, like I said, to follow us on Twitter, to follow the show on any podcast you are listening to, or even if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications. It'll let you know when we drop a new video or a new episode. And hey, while you're on those, go ahead.
I wanted to say, just
Let's hear it.
if you want to see any kind of streaming from us, be it just watching videos, talking about different stuff, going over some different music stuff for this podcast, talking about some Game of Thrones stuff for our Throne of the Dragon show, or going through some Peaky Blinders stuff, or just playing some games. All you got to do is comment stream in one of those places, and we will get that. We'll get that going.
STREAM. It's as simple as that, people. It
Yeah.
takes you like 2 seconds to type it.
Yeah. If you'd like to get some more out of us that way, just put that in the comments and we will start working on that.
We're here to serve you. Yes. All right. While you're on Twitter, make sure to follow my co-host over here too. Tweet at him, stream. See what he does. At Joshua Lynn.
Just blow
Gary.
me up over here.
Blow him up, man. Blow him up. Make sure to leave a 5-star review and write us a comment on whatever podcast service you are using. And like I just said just a little bit ago, if you want to listen to us and see our smiling faces, head on over to the old tube of you. That's YouTube. So just search Is Survived by Productions, and that'll have every episode from all of our shows that we have just talked about. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, leave us a comment, stream, and hit the notification. Stream. Alrighty, man. That is going to do it for this episode. We will see you in the next episode for part 2 of Touché Amoré. See you.
Come, listener.